Hi guys, I'm back today to test out another Giorgio Armani foundation. This is the powder fabric foundation that's like recently been released. I just recently tested out the Luminous Silk foundation and I actually ended up really liking it. Not really on its own, but more together with the Ultra HD. That has been my favorite combo that I found for my skin. But today we're going to talk about the fabric powder foundation. This is a more long wear high cover foundation and it actually has SPF 25 as well, whereas the Luminous Silk does not have any SPF in it. From what I know, this is supposed to be more mattifying and definitely a little bit more coverage. I picked this up from the VIB Sephora sale. I'm still waiting for my last order to come in. I would definitely be filming a haul video once everything arrives, so please stay tuned. Oh yeah, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I have this foundation in the shade number 2. The shade actually doesn't match up perfectly to Luminous Silk, which is kind of annoying. I don't know why they do that. I feel like they should match it. So I do have Luminous Silk in the shade number 3. This is what it looks like in the bottle, and this is what the powder foundation looks like. Actually, it does look a tiny bit darker in the bottle. So this is in number 3, and this is actually number 2, which I believe it is for fair skin with the golden undertone. They're not the same number because this is 3 and this is 2, but they do have the same description. So I figured I'd swatch them for you guys. Okay, so here we have the 2 shades. This one on the bottom here is the Luminous Silk in number 3, and this one is the fabric powder foundation in number 2. I feel like the Luminous Silk, it is a little bit lighter, but that may just also because of the consistency. This one is much lighter feeling and this one's definitely a little bit thicker. And this is after it's been dried down just a little bit. As you can see, I feel like the powder fabric foundation does dry down to be a little bit darker. And the Luminous Silk in number 3 is definitely a little bit lighter. So here's what my skin is looking like today. I can definitely use an extra bit of coverage on this side. So I'm just going to start with this side of my face with the beauty blender. I'm going to do one pump here. So right away I do notice definitely a lot more coverage than the Luminous Silk. The Luminous Silk, I would say it is definitely medium at best. When you first put it on, it's definitely a more sheer coverage. If you're interested in that specific foundation, I will link it and you can take a look. I just did a first impression on that as well. So that's one pump on this side of the cheek with the beauty blender. I mean, I kind of covered up this discoloration here. I wouldn't say I'm completely happy with this coverage, and I definitely didn't get any of the forehead at all. So I'm going to use just like maybe a half pump more. Right here. Just to layer it. I did not start with a primer today. I just had a little bit of moisturizer on right before I started applying this foundation. So that's 1.5 pump on this side of the face. I actually don't think the half pump that I added made any difference. This is how it looks with the half of my face applied and this side not. So definitely evened down my skin tone, covered like overall redness and some of my blemishes, but you can definitely see those blemishes. So I would say this is like a light medium coverage. Even when I layered more products on top, the coverage didn't really build. So I don't feel like it's something that I can build to full coverage. But the finish is very pretty. I will zoom in after I applied this side of my face, but you can see a little bit of dryness around my blemishes. Again, my skin isn't doing the best right now, so I feel like it's not entirely the foundation's fault. But I feel like if you need more coverage, your skin probably isn't the best to begin with, so it's good to see how this foundation does on troubled skin, for sure. Moving on to this side of my face, I'm just going to use a kabuki brush to blend it in. I'm going to do one pump as well, even though I feel like I might not need that much. Okay, so when I'm applying with a brush, it definitely seems a lot more full coverage just right off the bat. Oh my god. It is not looking good on my nose right now. One pump with a brush actually covered up the entire right side of my face. God, my skin is so terrible today, and I feel like this foundation doesn't really help the look of it. I will zoom in, but it's kind of crusty and disgusting. So just a warning, it's not pretty. Okay, so I think my blemishes are pretty much covered up. I'm comfortable with this level of coverage. Now let's zoom in to take a closer look. It's not looking too great on the nose, and I do apologize because my skin isn't very pretty today. I feel like, again, this foundation would look really pretty if you had flawless skin, but then again, it's like, what's even the point? You know what I mean? Like, if you have flawless skin, anything will look pretty on you. We can definitely still see some of the redness peeking through. The dry patchiness around the blemishes aren't like as terrible as some of other foundations I've seen, but it's definitely not completely flawless. On the nose, it does pretty terrible. You guys saw up close. It is definitely more coverage than Luminous Silk. I would really have to build Luminous Silk up to be this kind of coverage. So, and this is like only one application of it. You know, so if you like Luminous Silk and you just want a little bit more coverage, this would be a great option. The color is alright. I mean, it's a tiny bit dark, but I mean, it's fine. It's not as great as Luminous Silk. So far I'm not really loving it. I will be wearing this for the rest of today. Actually, already 4:40 in the afternoon. I will be wearing this for a while today, so I will check in at the end of the day. Okay. So I took a closer look at the foundation, and I'm really torn because it actually looks really pretty on the areas of my face where I don't have any problems, but that's kind of like stupid, you know? It's like, I need high coverage because I have problems on my skin, and if you're gonna look good when there's no problems, like, why do I even need foundation at all if I don't need your help? But what I'm trying to say is, like, it looks really nice in between my brows here where I usually get dryness with some of my foundations, but not at all with this one. My nose is incredibly flaky, but I feel like I can fix that. I'm not sure. I have to think. Hi guys, I'm back with my makeup all done, and I applied a little bit of bronzer, and that's about it on my cheeks. I didn't powder my face at all anywhere except for putting on bronzer. My skin still pretty much looks the same. Not much to report there. I feel like I did lose a little bit of intensity with the bronzer. It's really weird. But that might be because of the bronzer. I'm not really sure. It is a newer bronzer that I'm trying. So I will check back right before I'm about to wash my face and let you guys know my final thoughts about this foundation. But yeah, so far, still everything's the same. Hi guys, I'm back. It's 3:17 a.m. I really need to fix my sleeping schedule. I like fell asleep and then woke up around 1. So, I'm very oily again, but that's probably because I fell asleep. I've said before, when I sleep, my face just gets super oily. I don't know why that is. Let me know if that happens to you. So anyway, my face is oily. Let's zoom in and take a look right now, and then we'll touch up with a powder and then see how it does, like, after being touched up. So besides the fact that it's incredibly oily, like on my T-zone and a little bit here, actually just pretty much everywhere, I think it looks pretty good. I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of biased toward this foundation. Even though it didn't do too well on the nose, I still kind of love how it looked on the cheeks. My blemishes, my skin tone is still pretty evened out. And like the dryness, the skin around my blemishes don't look too terrible actually, so I don't know, I kind of like it even though it did terribly on my nose. So I'm gonna powder right now. Let's keep it within the fam. I'm using the Luminous Silk Compact by Giorgio Armani. This is in the shade number 2. I'm just gonna get rid of the shine. So I am mattified after the powder, and let's zoom in. Besides the nose looking a little bit flaky like it has been the whole time, everything else looks great, to be honest. I do feel like, so I usually get some kind of dry and cakiness here, but I didn't get it here, but I did get it a little bit at the beginning of my brows. It's pretty weird. My nose is not great. We already said that. Cheeks are kind of fine, I think. My final verdict on this foundation is that it actually is quite good. It looks really, really nice on the skin. I do have to say it is not as full coverage as like a truly full coverage thing, like a Cover FX Custom Cover Drops or like a Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation. It's definitely like a solid medium foundation, and it's thicker in consistency than Luminous Silk. Lasting power, I would say, I mean, if you're oily, if you take a nap, I feel like it will break up, of course, but it did touch up pretty nicely. And honestly, it's still like on the rest of my face. I can see it. My blemishes here and here are still pretty much covered up, and my skin tone is still even. So yeah, I do like it. I really like the fact that there's SPF 25, by the way. Overall, I would give this foundation a B right now, and I feel like if I had better skin, it's an A. Giorgio Armani, they do foundations very well. The biggest selling point for me is how much it looks like skin even after the amount of coverage it delivers. It definitely is one of those foundations that can deliver a lot of coverage without looking like fake or anything like that. So I really like that about this, and just like their foundations in general. Let me know if you've tried this before and your experience with it, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe, by the way, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!